Welcome to Beyond Perception with Jaden Fox and Michelle Manning Kogler. And today we are heading right down the rabbit hole. We're going to talk about all of the manipulation and what do I want to say here? We'll just talk about manipulation in the New Age movement and how in some ways we've kind of traded one old-time religion for a new-time religion, which has actually gotten us in bigger trouble in some ways, because it's all about love and light. And I almost can't say that without gagging anymore because
I know. Yeah.
and
yeah. So let's start by calling in our angels and our guides.
Oh, please don't. Please don't. That's how I've gotten so manipulated in the past. You know, I can hear people right now emailing me and texting me and B-word, you're such a bitch, you crazy, crazy woman. Pronounce, destroy and uncreate, retroactively make null and void, all of that. But yeah, I mean, this is going to bring up a lot of stuff for a lot of people. So let's be very clear that this is not for the faint of heart.
Well, actually, it's fascinating in that when you, for me, I had spent so many years trying to dig into things, and like I couldn't get into things. Like I seemed impregnable, and everybody's talking about this cool stuff about having all these bizarre interactions with weird energies and entities, and I'm like, I've never had that, and I'm feeling really left out. And I started this spiritual, and I started being spiritual, and actually New Age, and I bought it lock, stock, and barrel and read everything and parodying the things and really getting into it. I got so fucked up and taken over. Like it locked my ass down in a way nothing else ever had before.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's potent shit. That's really, really potent stuff. So yeah, you've got my recommendation. If you ever really, really want to explore what it's like to be fully taken over and fully locked down, become spiritual and invite your guides, your angels, and connect to these realms and download all these different energies from these other realms, and you'll see what that's like. It's cool until it's not.
Really not. And you know, I'll be honest. Like you, I played in that arena for a really long time, and I'm finding myself hearing, you know, a lot of the things that I have said in the past, and it's like, oh my gosh, wow, no wonder I was having problems. No wonder I was there, and yeah, So it wasn't until I found myself utterly locked down and basically losing everything, you know, kitties, marriage, homes, businesses, everything I owned, everything that I was, and really, really not even coming to a point where I didn't even know who I was and what I was here for. And I'm like, this is crazy, because frankly, I have a big mission to help people, and if I can't do that, then what? That's the only thing I'm designed to do. Let's be really clear. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. But it's what I'm really good at, and it's what I've chosen to do. So So that being said, how do we want to go down this? Because I mean, I can feel all the people already going.
Yep. And those people aren't ready for this. So it's like the people that we connect with are the people who've actually been there, done that, got the T-shirt, got the guides, got all the other, got the crystals and all the cool things, and find, okay, well, this didn't go where I expected this to go. Now, how do I get the fuck out of this?
Right.
And that, for me, it's like, if you're still having fun playing in it, then by all means go play in it. Like, I can't say I didn't have fun while I was doing it. In its own twisted way, it was fun. But you reach a point where you're like just done with it. And that's the people who come to me, and probably you as well, are like, I'm done with this. Like, serious, I'm done with this. How do I get out?
Yeah,
because
why isn't my life working?
It's entrapping. It's entrapping. It locks you down in a way that it reprograms your consciousness, reprograms your way of thinking.
Yeah.
It totally distorts your reality in such a way that you can't even think clearly anymore. You don't know what's true. You don't know what's real.
No.
And you don't realize that. You think you do know what's true and what's real. And it's a big mind fuck. It's the biggest mind fuck I've ever found.
It was
well
the biggest
designed.
one I've been in, and I've been in some really great ones.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm living my human design now. This is my heretic side. So we're taking it out. Prepare for the flash burning.
Yeah. So what is all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable around all this, and all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, or Nikki's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energy and frequencies, everything that prevents you from being able to even think about something outside of the paradigm that you're locked into.
Wow.
And can we put all that in the pile?
Yes, I choose that now. Woo.
Wow. And what is everything that you decided that all that new age stuff means that it doesn't actually mean?
Yeah, it might be a lot.
Wow. And put that in the pile? Wow. And what is everything you decided that all the new age stuff doesn't mean that it actually does mean?
Wow. That might be even more.
Whoa, that's weird shit. Okay. And all that stuff in the pile. And everything from down below, back behind, up above, way up front, outside, left, right, inside, outside, everything and meaning all in the pile. Bodies, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours. Now that's yours. Now that's yours. Let it go.
Never
let it
was
go,
yours.
Never was yours. Never was yours. Never was yours. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that now.
I choose that.
Clear, transform, flash burn, purify, and sterilize it all back to and through each of its source and or sources. Oh, purify the source and or sources. Flash burn it out of existence so it never existed ever. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
That had a lot more energy than I really expected right up front. Just getting started.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, I heard a description that really rang for me, and that was that the manipulators of this reality, if you want to call it the matrix or whatever you want to call, the energies that seek to lock down humans or conscious humans, noticed that religion, the old time religions, just wasn't working anymore, and that we weren't buying it, probably because we'd been through it, or it seemed so clunky and obvious. It was crude. And so that they developed a more sophisticated program that would deliberately grab people who are in the space of looking for something better than what's here. People who are reacting to the negativity of this reality and want the joy and peace and bliss and light and oneness and togetherness and all those wonderful qualities that actually aren't what you think they are. And it's like those, so they created this distorted reality that each one of those things sounds like one thing, but is actually something different. So it's like oneness, what we would think of as oneness and what we would focus on as oneness is, we'd be like, yeah, oneness. I like that. But what is designed for oneness is more like the Borg. We will consume you of one, like it's a beehive or a thing where you become a cog in the machine, one with all. And there's all these distortions that twist it around in different meanings for that. And when I heard that, I'm like, whoa, yep, got me.
Bad, really bad.
Got me.
Yeah. And it's yes. And it was interesting when I first I remember thinking years and years and years and years and years ago, when I first heard that concept of oneness, the very first thing that popped into my brain was, we are the Borg, we are one. There's
Yep.
what is it? We will assimilate. There is no
We
escape.
will
And I'm like,
assimilate you. Yep. Yep. Exactly. And I think that triggered on some level, but I'm like, oh yeah, that's not spiritual
no,
thought.
it's not. That's not love and light. That's just science
No.
fiction.
Yes, it's not real.
Yeah. Well, and what I've realized is the version of oneness that has kind of been distorted, or that was originally distorted, that looked good but really wasn't, is that it's losing our identity. It's
Yeah.
losing our uniqueness and our diversity, and I'm seeing it in the world. We've gotten to this point of intolerance of anything unique, or on one level we celebrate it, and yet even look at the design of our cars. They all look the same. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that? This is
Yeah.
crazy. And
Yeah.
and if you're really too out there, that's also not good. So we've got to be universally one-ish.
Ish. Yep.
Uh, but
Yep.
but even, I mean, the far left, the far right, it's all about, we have to all think alike, we all have to look alike, we all have to dress alike, we all have to, and it's this alikeness energy that is so destructive. Because when you look at our planet, there's such massive diversity. I mean, there's millions of types of species, from insects to birds to mammals to to plant life and trees, and it's like, how can that diversity support us in understanding our own diversity? And we had a conversation about this, in a group the other night that we were in, and which was mind-bogglingly brilliant,
Thank you.
and made me really realize how strong diversity makes us.
Mhm.
And if we buy into that oneness that really has that underpinning of the Borg, we lose that, and we become very intolerant, and we become weak as a species, as individuals, and as a species, as a human species. And that's kind of where we're being guided and led. And I'm just this whole, because I'm in this industry, I'm in this, well, I may not be in it much longer. But this help industry, this new age, oh God, I can't even
Right.
say that word, industry. I just feel like I need to speak out, because we're being led astray, and we're really being manipulated, and people's lives are not working, and we pay tens of thousands of dollars, and in my case, hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Mhm.
to be who we're designed to be, and then it's not working.
Yeah. But actually, it's like some of that too is, if you look at it as an exploration of this reality that guides you to awareness,
Yeah.
then it's actually quite brilliant. I mean, then I was like you, a workshop junkie, and I took to the point where it's just like, if I take one more fucking workshop, like, I'm over it. But it's like it all guides you to view another aspect of this reality, another way of viewing the world that looks brilliant and looks great, and then you get down and you're like, nope, dead end. And you take this one, nope, that's definitely dead end. Nope, that one's going to suck me down. And if you look at the overall, like, it really is bringing you to more awareness, or depending on how you're using it, like it for me, each one of those rabbit holes was a dead end that caused me to come back to me.
Yeah, and when you look at it like that, I mean, once you smack up against that brick wall again, then it's like, wait, something's wrong. Something is still wrong. But every system, every person that I thought had answers for me did in some ways. But what I realized is I really have what I need inside.
Yep.
And I want people to reconnect with that. Yes, you can gain information about other things, but you are your own authority,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Yep.
Nobody can tell you what you feel,
Mm-hmm.
who you are, what your experiences are, and not even me, not Jaden, not anybody.
Agreed.
And if anybody tells you that they have all of the answers for you, they're lying. I will tell you that right
Run
now.
away very
Run fast.
quickly.
And I'm the first to admit I was the person who, for $97, you too can have the answers to all of the universe. And it's like, and I'm sorry. And I apologize.
I apologize. Yeah.
I really apologize but that's part of that matrixy shit that we're going to be talking about today, and how you get sucked in so easily to not be your own authority, and how that's destructive to your whole life, and especially your pocketbook. So let's talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is everything that's up or active? And all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert or unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies. Whoa. And in the pile, everything down below, back behind, up above, front, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that now.
I choose that. Boo. And incinerate.
Clear, transform, flash burn, purify, sterilize it all back to and through each of its source and or sources, and then purify the source and or sources, and flash burn so it never existed ever.
Wow.
Wow, that was a lot of information.
Wow. Yeah.
So when we do this, what we're asking you to do is not consciously think about it, and there'll be stuff that'll pop into your head. What we're asking you to do is feel the information in your body, run it through your own inner authority, run it through your BS detector, run it through whatever, and do not take everything that Jaden and I say for fact, because we're just here to bring awareness, to bring fun and consciousness and expansiveness, and maybe a different viewpoint, so that you can see more truth, so that you can see the world in a different way that supports you. And go ahead.
There's that lie, and it's definitely the New Age, and it's also this planet that says that there's one truth, and that everybody has that same truth, and you just need to align with and see what is true, and then you've got it. Yeah. And what if the reality is that it's all about perspective? Like, I could stand here and I could look at something at a distance, and from my angle of perspective, it looks like one thing, and you could be 300 or 180 degrees around, and from the backside of that same object, you could see something completely different. And we're looking at the same object, and I can look at this and say, no, that is true. And you could look at the backside and say, no, this is true. And who's true? What's true?
Right.
And it's like, what if everybody has their own truth? What if your truth is unique in all that is, that there's no other being who has the same perspective in all that is that you personally have, and that your truth, and when you speak your truth and when you see your truth, it allows others to see the world through your eyes and through your perspective. And that adds to the multidimensionality of all that is, rather than the Borg saying there's one truth and you just have to see it from the way we tell you you have to see it.
Right.
And that's a huge snag that I see most of this reality in.
You know, when this came home to me was in 2001, when I started studying spiritual response therapy. And on chart 3, for those of you who know SRT, there is a diagram of incarnation. And every single step along the way, there are literally there's anywhere between one and literally millions and tens, hundreds of millions of choices. And if from a numerical standpoint alone, at each level of that, descension into physical body, into these physical bodies, one tiny, infinitesimally small decision changes who you are at a fundamental level. And if every single one of us, there was literally an infinite number of choices in that incarnational decision. And and it's like, oh my gosh, there's no possible. And that was one of the biggest defining moments for me, because, I had been raised in a certain religion where it was just, the one true way. And it was like, oh my gosh, there's no. Because at each and every level, we have a different perception. We have a different awareness of who we are. And there's no way, from that religious standpoint, there's no one way back to source. There's no one way back to God. There's no one way back to the wholeness of who you are. So anybody who's selling you there's only one way to do this is lying. I'm going to tell you they are lying.
Or they're seeing it from their point of view.
Oh, I love that. Okay. That for me has been helpful, because then I'm not getting into polarity. It's like, oh, well, that's their point of view. Okay, cool. So is that point of view useful to me? Is their way of looking at the world beneficial to me personally, or is that like off my path, off track for me? So from that perspective, then that helps shift that polarity and keeps us from right, wrong, right and wrong, and righteous and unrighteous. And so everything that's brought up, can we clear that now? Yeah. Can we work on that?
Yeah. So what is everything that's up or active? All the trash that's been kind of kicked up as we've been kind of chatting along here. And can we put all that in the pile?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. And then let's look at, so what is everything about any of this that you're aligning and agreeing with? We're going to grab the polarities that bind you. Polarity traps. What if polarity traps you into something? So what is everything you're aligning and agreeing with? Is everything you're resisting and reacting to?
Whoa. That might be a lot.
What is everything that you're defending for? What is everything you're defending against?
That's even bigger.
Wow. And this is the layer where interference comes in. What is everything that you're righteous for?
Whoa.
Wow. And what is everything that you're righteous against?
Holy man.
Wow. And righteous is just some energy saying this is the right way to do it.
Right.
And everything, all those, yes, right. Can we put all that stuff in the pile?
Yes, I choose that now.
Wow. And everything from down below, back behind, up above, way up front, from the left, from the right, inside,
outside, right side,
outside, everything remaining, all in the pile. Bodies, let that go. Not you, not yours, not you, not yours. Never was yours, never was yours. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go.
Planet not yours, planet not mine.
Wow. And truth, can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Boo. Incinerate.
Clear, transform, flash burn, purify, sterilize out of existence so it never existed ever. Back to and through each of its source and or sources, and then purify the source and or sources and flash burn the residue. You know what I love about that spectrum clearing, about that polarity clearing, is that it helps take that rigidness one way or the other out. It helps you really look at the energy that is that we've unconsciously, in most cases, really aligned with and defended against and for, and have become really righteous for and against. And I know that in my own life, things that it's like I can find the trigger and I can find where it is that I'm really righteous for, righteous against something based on the level of that shows up instantaneously on something. And that's when I know that I need to clear something, that something
Yeah.
needs this shift in perspective, and that I've been manipulated and interfered with to and to look at this, and so that my energy can be harvested. And I want to talk about that for just a second also. So what is it, so what's the whole point between manipulation and interference for us? I mean, what's the whole point about it? What's the intention? Well, I guess maybe, so a couple of questions. What's the intention of, we'll call it manipulation and interference, and then what is manipulation and interference?
Well, I'd actually like to stick on the topic. So if you could hold that, I want to stay with exactly where you were playing, because you were talking about the polarity of something.
Oh yeah.
And that for me is like the crux of so much of, it's like the biggest lockdown tool that's used on this planet. And it's one of these things where it's like, we talk about beyond perception. It's like, so what is perception? It's the way you perceive this reality. Well, if most of people on this planet have undergone some form of education, right?
Or re-education, yes.
Or basically programming. It's like they've taken your perception, your tools, your mind, the way and the instruments you use to perceive this reality, and they've conditioned them in a certain way. They've taught you to think in a certain way, and they've taught you to think in terms of right and wrong. This is true, this is false, and you need to find what is true. And so they've engaged at a core level this programming around polarity. And it's like, when you get that your mind has been programmed to think in polarity, and everything about our society, you look in the media, it's about, well, this is the correct way, this is the incorrect way. It's like it all goes back to that same lie of polarity. And it gets you to this ping pong thing where when you're trying.
Uh-oh. Hang on just a second. Looks like we might have a little interference here. Oh dear. I'm going to pause.